Now, without reading the whole thing, you read when Shaul became a convert, when he became a believer in the Messiah. Before that, he was he was killing people that believed in Yahshua. Right? We know the story. So the believers that believed in Yahshua was terrified of him when he came around. They're like, isn't that the same guy that was killing Hebrews? Now he talking about he wanted the Messiah, wanted the believers of the Messiah, right? So now that he embraced the same anti-Mashiach Sanhedrin brothershood that were anti-Mashiach, when they found out that he was a believer in the Mashiach, they was out to get him. So he was running from persecution. So that's what this is about. Now, if you skip down to he was on trial, and let's start verse 10. It's having a field day now. Then Shaul, after that the governor had beckoned unto him to speak, answered, for as much as I know that thou hast been of many years a judge unto this nation, I do more cheerfully answer for myself. Well, let's go up a little bit to see, ask him a question. Let's see. Let's go up to the top. I'll read it expeditiously. After 5 days, Ananias, the high priest, descended with the elders and with certain orator named Tertullus. I think he's one of the early church fathers. I think Tertullian. I think that's the same guy. I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe that was the same guy. Okay. With a certain orator named Tertullus, who informed the governor against Shaul. And when he was called forth, Tertullus began to accuse him, saying, seeing that by thee we enjoy great quietness, and that very worthy deeds are done unto this nation by thy providence. We accept it always and in all places, most notable Felix the cat, with all thankfulness, notwithstanding that I be not further tedious unto thee, I pray thee that thou would hear us of the clemency a few words. Okay, so he's talking legal talk. So kind of going over most people said. Lawyers talk all that legal jargon. All right, let's continue. For we have found this man a pestilent fellow and a mover of sedition. They talk about Paul now. Among all the Yahudim throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes. See? So they were called the sect of the Nazarene, not Christians. Right? This is a side note. Who also had gone about to profane the temple, whom we took and would have judged according to our law. But the chief captain Lysias came upon us, and with great violence took him away out of our hands, commanding his accusers to come unto thee, by examining of whom thyself may take knowledge of all these things whereof we accuse him. So Shaul was being accused of all kinds of blasphemy, sedition, and everything. The same Shaul that was killing believers in the Messiah, the sect of Nazarites, he was now put on trial from the Torah only based group and called him a seducer, right? All right, 10. Other words, he turned it back on him. Then Shaul, after that the governor had beckoned unto him to speak, answered, for as much as I know that thou hast been of many years a judge unto this nation, I do more cheerfully answer for myself, because thou may understand that there are yet but 12 days since I went up to Jerusalem for to worship. Right? And they neither found me in the temple disputing with any man, neither raising up the people, neither in the synagogue, nor in the city. Neither can they prove the things whereof they now accuse me of. Here's the kicker. But this is Shaul confession. I confess unto thee that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I the Elohim of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and in the prophets, and have hope towards Elohim, which they themselves also allowed that there shall be a resurrection of the dead, both of the just and the unjust. And herein do I exercise myself to have always a conscience void of offense towards Elohim and towards men. See that? So Shaul's confession was that he confessed unto thee that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I the Elohim of my fathers. Cult group. Your leader just said it's called heresy. You call it a cult. But Shaul said, right? He confessed. He worshiped the Elohim of his fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and the prophets. He would have had, that would have been a real good opportunity for him to say, "Oh, let me say it this way. I believe it under the law now. Because Yahshua came, so we don't have to keep that law now." He know they would have killed him. So the question you gotta ask is, was he a hypocrite? Was he for real? Or are people saying things and twisting his words? So Shaul, he was a smooth brother. He was very articulate, and he was bilingual, trilingual. I think he spoke Latin and Greek and Hebrew. So that's trilingual, right? Trilingual. And so a person that didn't know nothing about Hebraic culture and hear him speak, they would think he's saying something that he's not saying. They're like, "Oh, see, Shaul said we don't have to keep the law." Right? So that's the last piece right there that I wanted to share. The Shaul bowed out right there and said, "Oh, I believe all things which are written in the law." As a matter of fact, he came back in Romans, we read, and said that the law is spiritual. And with my spirit, I serve the law of Yah. That would have been another good opportunity for him to say, "Oh, we not under the law. We can't obey the law because the law has been nailed to the tree," right? So prayerfully, you got something out of this lesson, and I was able to share some insight to put the law into its proper perspective. Next Shabbat, Yah willing, we're gonna take a look at the law of sacrifices. Now, you go to Leviticus. We're gonna start in Leviticus chapter 1. We're gonna cover the 5 levels of sacrifice. You have the burnt offering, and we're gonna show you which each one is relevant to us because it has a spiritual significance to the natural significance, right? So where each one of these laws pertains to us as covenant sons and daughters, right? These laws, the 5 levels, the burnt offerings, meat offerings, peace offerings, sin offerings, and trespass offerings. Each one of those are a shadow of us as believers of the covenant, not just believers, but us as doers of the covenant. So probably you got something out of this lesson today. And just before we close out, let's look at some comments here to see what we've been missing. Okay, let's see. Adrian said Joseph. I'm not sure. I didn't see that comment. Well, maybe I can- uncircumcised can't make it to the kingdom. Right. Be being blessed. Vesta Rogers said, be being blessed. Rogers said, tell her come on in the room. Oh, that was the lady knocking on the door. Baruch Shabbat, Atanda, and Moray Josiah. Love you both too, but love you back. We're probably in Knesset. Spirit and flesh are rivalries, battling each other for you to do one or the other. True. Shema comment. Okay. Okay. Adrian kind of confirmed. If he writes her a bill of divorce, she is free. Coach Sherry said, I'm so glad for this revelation because I was taught wrong. Can't go wrong by looking at the scriptures, because people can tell you what it says, what it means, but nothing's better than seeing what it actually says, right? So we praise Yahweh. We try to stick to the text. I read a great lesson. A lot I never knew. This brings much clarity. Hallelujah. How's that for equality, world? It's all clear to me. Okay, hallelujah. Okay. One reason Messiah didn't allow the woman caught in adultery to be stoned is the husband who we never saw he was at the scene. Messiah kept to a cover. Right, exactly. Right, that's a good point. He must have. That still doesn't mean that she will be free or go unpunished, uncursed for what? Because it's still a sin wrong. You have to look a little further into that, because we don't know who that woman was. She might have been still around and became somebody's wife eventually. I have to look further into that. Aiden said this still forgiven, period. Right. This was forgiven. We don't see a record of her being killed. Then too, like you said, when you go according to Torah, you can't uh form a judgment on somebody that goes against Torah. If the judgment said the husband and the wife both together, then you would have had to have the witnesses, and they would have to go before the court, like you do in the legal system today. The witnesses would go, they would put you on trial. They would have, okay, who's the guy? Right? You got to bring the guys out. So you can't judge her alone, right? Because, hey, they could do some unrighteous things to her. They cause her to be abused. She could have been raped by one of the males. Could have been an uncle or something. Who knows what happened, right? So you have to judge. In Torah, you judge completely. You don't judge impartiality, right? I'm going to say yes. Great lesson brought clarity into focus of truth. All right, hallelujah. So got the itchy in my head. That fly got me. You know how when fly just bother you at first, and then it just kind of gets into your, that's how I feel right now. It's in my mind. All right, we're gonna go ahead and close out. We praise the Most High Yah for all y'all. Oh,